Abigail here from Evening Star Astrology. I hope you're all doing well today. Thank you for being here and thank you for coming to another video. Today is so exciting because first of all, as you might see, I have a new camera setup, and also since it was just the holiday season, I have several new decks that I am so excited to feature today. These are your January predictions for the entire month ahead, and just a little disclaimer as always, this reading is not set in stone. If you see something here that you do not resonate with, something that you do not like, you have free will, you are able to change that. This reading simply reflects the energy that you are putting out into the universe right now. If you like what you hear, keep doing what you're doing, and if you don't like what you hear, you're allowed to change. Alright, so getting on to picking the cards. If you already know which pile you want to pick today, if you know which one is already speaking to you, you don't need to wait and think about it. You're more than welcome to head down to the description box below where there will be timestamps for each of the readings, and you can click ahead to listen to the message that was meant for you. And if you would like another moment to pick your January message and, get more in touch with your intuition before picking which pile you would like to listen to, at this time I invite you to take several deep, grounding breaths. Perhaps these might be some of the deepest breaths you've taken today. Really allow yourself to come home to yourself, come home to your body and your mind via the breath, and ground into this present moment. In front of me, I have pile number 1 with some rose quartz. I have pile number 2 with some green aventurine. Pile number 3 with some pyrite. And pile number 4 with some jade. I hope that looks okay. Again, we have piles number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Take as much time as you would like to pick the pile, pause the video if you need to, and then you are welcome to head down to the description box below where there will be a timestamp for the reading you've selected. I will see you there. Hello, pile number 1. If you picked the cards with the rose quartz on top, this reading is for you. Alright, pile number 1, so starting out with the tarot cards for this month, we have the Empress, the Queen of Cups, the Emperor reversed, the Four of Pentacles reversed, and then the Queen of Wands. This reading is so spectacular because we have 2 queens plus the Empress, who is essentially a queen. And this speaks to good things this month, put simply. To elaborate a little bit more, queens represent coming into your power, being confident, being assertive, tapping into your divine feminine, and of course, this is regardless of whether you are a man or a woman or non-binary, we all have masculine and feminine elements in us. So this month you are really coming into the divine feminine. And to be more specific when talking about the divine feminine for you this month, I really see a lot of self-love at the center of it all. We see these 2 women especially, they're lounging, they're relaxed, they feel comfortable and confident enough in who they are that they can drop the defense and simply exist as they are. They're not as focused on curating their image or trying to appear a certain way or, boast a certain aesthetic. They are just existing as they are, and it's comfortable and it's easy and it's relaxing. And so this month I see you bringing down your guard and simply allowing yourself to exist as you are. However, we also have the Queen of Wands, who is in this power stance. She is confident. So merging the imagery of these 3 cards, pile number 1, I see that you might be becoming more confident, practicing self-love, maybe even body acceptance. I really see you having this confidence that comes from within, and it's a very true and real confidence that radiates from you existing and owning your power. But again, these are queens. They are powerful. They embrace the power and authority that they carry in the world. This might also be recognizing your privileges. What do you have that others may not have, and how can you use those privileges to help others who are more disadvantaged? But yeah, with these 3 queens, I really see you doing a lot of work, and maybe work isn't even quite the right word, but I see you putting a lot of time into making sure that you're taking care of yourself, especially your emotional needs and your creative, passionate sexual needs. And also just creating a life that is so wonderfully abundant and ultimately is a life you want to be living. In January, I see a lot of barriers breaking down about my life should be like this. It's the beginning of the new year. I'm hearing all these things about how I should go on a diet and how I should lose weight and how it's a new year, I have to become a new me. And I really see you kind of bypassing all that and saying like, nope, I'm actually really happy with who I am. In fact, what I want to work on is loving myself as I am right now in this moment even more, rather than trying to change myself to fit a societally acceptable standard of beauty, personality, whatever. Good things with that. And then it's balanced out by the Four of Pentacles and the Emperor reversed. And it's so interesting that we have the Emperor and the Empress in this reading. And with the Emperor reversed, I really see that you are struggling with authority in some way. And like I said just a moment ago, this might be you rejecting societal expectations of how you should look or how you should act. And this could be you stepping up and saying, actually, I don't want to dress in this way that society has told me that I have to dress. And instead saying, I'm going to dress this way because I feel comfortable and confident in these clothes. And so with the Emperor reversed, I feel like there's a bit of a rejection of authority or convention. However, with the Four of Pentacles also reversed, these both speak to our security and structure. The Emperor, who is card number 4, rules over all of the fours. And so with the Four of Pentacles reversed, I see that you might be struggling to actually implement these like body positivity, self-confidence, self-love lessons in a very grounded way. And I worry that it might almost be a little bit performative. So your work and your lesson for this month, pile number 1, is to use the energy of the Four of Pentacles and the Emperor to some extent to create a foundation and a sense of stability and security that you can build on, if that makes sense. So making sure that you have a good morning routine, a good evening routine, even if it's just like 5 to 10 minutes where you meditate, you wind down, or transition between sleep and the rest of your day. But in some way, create some sort of routine that fosters this wonderful, positive self-acceptance, radical self-love thing you've got going on this month. Basically what I'm getting at here is this month I see you doing a lot of self-work around self-love, body confidence, radical self-love, stepping into your own power, being able to speak your truth and use your voice, and at the same time making sure that it's grounded and not performative. Next, I have 2 cards from my Moonology deck, and we have the Disseminating Moon, which says take time to breathe out, and the New Moon in Aquarius, which says bring love into the situation. All right, so diving into these cards, with the New Moon in Aquarius, obviously new moons are times of new beginnings, starting fresh after going through a bit of a dark period, the dark moon phase. A sliver of light begins to appear, as we can see in this card, and you're allowed to start fresh. And it's a time of potency, opportunity, new beginnings, blank canvas, fresh slate, whatever metaphor you prefer. And obviously this isn't a unique experience per se, because most people experience this feeling in January of new year, new me. But this card says bring love into the situation, and I think for you, that is the more important aspect. It's not new year, new me. It's new year learning to love the same me. Aquarius is represented as the water bearer, and the water bearer carries the emotions of the world. However, I think for you this month, it will really be holding space for your emotions, creating a physical space, but actually more of a metaphorical space for your emotions to simply be and simply exist. And I think that this New Moon in Aquarius card is really speaking to the self-love, but actually allowing all of the feelings and all of the thoughts that you have to exist. It's not self-love in the way of, I'm gonna change myself so that I can love myself. It's learning to love myself as I am. Loving all of your emotions, loving all of your thoughts, and holding space for all the complexity of who you are. And then moving on to the Disseminating Moon, which says take time to breathe out, which is quite interesting because we have the Empress, the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Wands. Like I said, these are queens, they are powerful, they are full of abundance, and they're kind of at a peak power, almost more of a full moon phase, if you will, of being very visible, being very seen, and then also just like that celebration of life, of existence, celebrating your emotions, celebrating your creative and passionate side, celebrating the abundance in your life, the material comforts you have, the love you have, all of that. But this card here is reminding you it's okay to breathe. It's okay to be human throughout all of this. With all of the royalty, and I'm including the Emperor in this, I feel like this month there might be a little bit of pressure, probably that you put on yourself, to perform a certain way. Again, when you become confident, other people recognize it, and I worry that if other people put you on a pedestal of like, I want to be like this person because they're so confident, you're going to kind of get into this mode or mindset of, I always have to be confident, I always have to be putting on a show. I have to prove that I'm confident, essentially. And this disseminating moon card wants to remind you that it's okay to take some time to breathe. You don't always have to be at 100%. Sometimes you're going to be a little bit below 100%. Sometimes you might be a lot below 100%. Sometimes you might just need a good cry and to allow yourself to return to a baseline of the new moon. I feel like I'm kind of rambling a bit, but I guess you're watching this video to listen to me talk, so whatever. But basically what this card is saying, that you don't always have to be perfect, you don't always have to be the best, and it's okay this month if you take some time to retreat a little bit or be less visible or just take care of yourself and breathe a little bit. All right, up next I have 2 cards from my Sufi Wisdom deck. We have Way of Faith and Time to Play. So I love the Time to Play card. It says make time to dance and play, and that is truly the energy of the Empress, but almost more so the Queen of Wands, of just being so confident and so creative and so in tune with your body that you just want to dance. You just want to move and play and have fun, and there's not this need to be serious or maintain a certain image. It's, you know, getting in touch with your inner child and just feeling so confident and secure in who you are that you are allowed to have fun. This card is also speaking to self-confidence and insecurity and kind of overcoming that. Again, as I've said multiple times already in this reading, the self-confidence and radical self-love that you are embodying this month, you are embodying. You're not performing this, and it will require some level of work and building the foundation to get there. And, you know, really getting in touch with yourself and breaking down any barriers or thought patterns that you've held that have stopped you from being the most confident. And so this card is encouraging you to get over that insecurity and work through that self-consciousness through creative pursuits such as dance and play and just enjoying yourself. Also, another thing I want to mention with this card is that oftentimes we view ourselves as a mind and a body. There's me and then there's my body. And all of the queens in this reading are fully embodied. I keep using that word, but it's just the best one to use in this situation. But these queens are embodied. They are present in their bodies. And using dance and play will help you this month to really reconnect your mind and your body, and using dance and play to help you become more present in your body, more aware, and gaining confidence by becoming more connected to your body, more intuitively connected, I should say. And then we have Way of Faith, and I think that this one is so beautiful in this reading. I feel like I say that about every card, that's so perfect or so whatever, but the Way of Faith card is so nice here because you might be listening to this reading and thinking like, oh my gosh, the Empress and the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Cups, like they are so powerful, and you're telling me I'm going to become super confident this month, and I just don't feel that way. Obviously, you're not going to wake up on January 1st and feel like the Empress. Like, this most likely will not be you on January 1st. This is more the progress that you will make through the month of January, or at least the seeds that you will start to plant in January. I'm not saying, again, that this is going to happen overnight, and it will require some work and building a strong foundation and breaking down ideas of how you should be and how you should act, and understand that there will be dark moments. Again, the new moon is a time when we can first see a little bit of light, but right before the new moon, right before we see that little sliver of light come out, we go through a dark moon phase, and that's when the Way of Faith card comes in. It's a reminder to understand that even when you don't feel your best, and even when you're thinking to yourself like, why am I even on this self-love journey, why am I even trying to become more confident when it hurts so much right now, this card is reminding you that things will get better. Sometimes it has to get worse before it gets better. I just realized that you can't see these cards. I am so sorry. Okay, that's better. But as I was saying, this Way of Faith card is really about you riding the wave this month, understanding that there will be low moments, understanding that there will be high moments, but the self-love journey you're on is so important, and it is worth all of the challenges. These cards are really nice because it's kind of the balance of action versus belief, like doing versus thinking. And so this month, take time to dance, take time to be present in your body, and also understand that there are certain things that you just can't do. Sometimes things are quite literally out of your hands and it just takes time. And then finally, our last two cards, we have Flower, which says be honest with yourself, and Gray, endings are inevitable. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. The moon's in Cancer today, but these are so beautiful. So first with this Gray card, it says endings are inevitable. We have the new moon in Aquarius, we have Way of Faith. There's a lot that is being started for you in January. Again, it's not new year, new me, it's new year learning to love me as I am. And when you learn to accept yourself and change your mindset to love yourself as you are, there are gonna be endings, and it's okay to feel sad about those endings, and just understanding that they are inevitable. Change is inevitable. We live in cycles, we live in seasons, and things have to end for new things to come in. And so, since you are welcoming in so much this month, you're on a peak of growing, and you have to understand that as you grow, sometimes things fall away. Understand that endings are inevitable this month, and it's okay to let go of things, it's okay to say goodbye to things, and it's also okay to feel sad about those endings. If you are leaving behind a toxic behavior that you have previously, engaged in, it's okay to be happy about the growth you're making, and it's also okay to be sad that you can no longer partake in that. I feel like I use this example way too often, but for example, let's say if you are giving up drinking in the new year because you've realized that you don't feel good when you drink and you have a lot of negative thoughts when you drink. That's an ending of some sort, and understand that you may also feel sad about it. You may feel sad about the experiences that aren't the same without alcohol. But understand that as you change, there are endings, and it's okay to feel sad about them. When we talked about the new moon in Aquarius card, we talked a little bit about the water bearer and how it's important to hold space for your own emotions. So as you go through these endings, allow yourself to feel them. Allow yourself to hold space for that pain. And then when it's ready to leave, let it go. Don't try to suppress it. Don't try and force it out too soon. Feel the pain of endings. And then when it's ready to leave, it's ready to leave. And then we move to the Flower deck. And I love the artwork on this card. And it says, be honest with yourself, which I think is going to be critical for you this month. Because, again, we have the Empress, we have two Queen cards, we have a lot of growth, a lot of embodiment, a lot of faith, things are happening. And I think it's important to check in with yourself every so often. Sometimes when very external or very obvious things start to go well for us in our life, it's really easy to shut down any negative thoughts or any issues, or, kind of critically analyze or check in on ourselves. And so this month, just be honest with where you're at. Like we talked about with the disseminating moon, you're not always going to be at 100%. Sometimes you might be at 80%, sometimes you might be at 20%. It's okay to feel those emotions. It's okay to feel whatever energy level, whatever mood you're at any moment. Remember to hold space for it. And it's really important that you're honest with yourself rather than trying to suppress it down and having this like love and light, fake, toxic positivity of like, no, it's all good, we're all good, everything's fine. Remember, I'm so confident, I'm so powerful, I'm stepping into my power. It's really important to be honest with yourself and understand that you're not going to feel your most confident every day. Some days you might feel a little bit lower. Sometimes you will grow for a week and then you stagnate. And it's okay to recognize that. Also being honest when it comes to your emotions and allowing yourself the time and space to check in with yourself, whether this is through journaling or daily meditation or whatever. Just be honest with yourself and learn to radically accept whatever comes up and practice self-love while practicing honesty. All right, pile number 1, I think that's all I have for you. I'm so excited for your January. You have so much self-love, self-empowerment, growth, etc. And I can't wait to see where it takes you. If you liked this reading, please give me a thumbs up, leave a like down below, comment and let me know what you thought, subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye! Hello, pile number 2. If you picked the cards with the green adventurine on top, this reading is for you. All right, pile number 2. So we start out your month with the King of Swords, then we have the Four of Swords, the Fool, Two of Pentacles, and Wheel of Fortune. So we have 2 swords cards here, and the swords represent conflict and communication. The sword can be a useful tool. It can be very powerful if you want to carve something or, have something be very precise and well articulated. However, the swords can also be a weapon used to hurt other people or yourself. And so this month, I really see you kind of refining how you use this tool. With the King of Swords this month, I see you becoming very clear about your boundaries. And with the Fool, this always represents kind of a new approach. And so you might be introducing new boundaries and informing others, like, I need to spend this much time winding down each night, so I have to leave the party by this time. Or, I don't feel comfortable talking about this conversation, that's not up for discussion, can we please change the conversation? So this month I see you becoming very clear about what you want, and more specifically, what you expect of yourself and what you expect of others when they interact with you. And then we have the Four of Swords, and this card always speaks to a need for rest and reflection. And so this month I see you maybe withdrawing a bit as well. The King of Swords kind of says, these are the rules, these are my boundaries, this is how I expect you to interact with me. And this can be in a very professional sense, this can be in a personal, familial, romantic, platonic, etc. But you make it very clear to others that during these hours, I am off limits. I will not be responding to work emails after 5 p.m. Or letting loved ones know, I spent a lot of time with you over the holidays, and now I need to spend some time on my own to rest and recuperate. I'm really seeing these boundaries as something that you enforce so that you can have more rest in your life. Creating a better work-life balance, but also creating more time for rest and truly intuitively listening to your body, to what it needs. Instead of sticking to a very prescribed, I get 8 hours of sleep each night, that's enough, I shouldn't need more sleep. But instead of listening to your body and hearing, maybe this month I need to get a little bit more sleep. Maybe it's not necessarily sleep that I need, but rest in a different way, meaning time away from screens or time away from other people. Basically what I'm getting at here is this month I really see you drawing more boundaries so that you can have a better work-life balance. And with the Fool, I have two thoughts. The first is that these boundaries are new for you. And so this month there will be a bit of learning how to set these boundaries and how to navigate them and how to enforce them without seeming mean or harsh or insensitive or selfish. I think a lot of times people in Western cultures, especially women, feel this need to always be available, always be ready to help others, always be ready to do work. And so this month, I feel like you're jumping into a very new territory of listening to your body more, listening to your mental health needs more, and allowing more time to rest. And so that will be something new for you to navigate this month, of turning down work assignments that you maybe wouldn't have turned down before, or setting boundaries with friends or loved ones, which might be new and unfamiliar and uncomfortable for you. However, with the Fool, I also see you potentially starting on a new path in your life or starting a new chapter of your life. And obviously January always brings about these feelings of new year, new me, time to start new habits, time to try something different. But I feel like if you are actually able to enforce these boundaries and make sure that you get enough rest, the Fool is going to represent you stepping into a new chapter of your life and understanding how good you can feel and the doors that are open to you when you have enough rest and your needs are met because you are maintaining these boundaries and you're not depleting your own energy and your own resources just because you want to be liked or seen as good and selfless or whatever. So this Fool is really representing new territory that you're entering this month, and also a new chapter of your life where you are able to assert boundaries and maintain enough of a balance in your life and the places that can take you. And it's kind of funny I've been talking about balance so much because then we move to the Two of Pentacles. And the Two of Pentacles in more traditional representations is a scale or some sort of balancing act. And so I see that for you this month of learning how to balance rest and work, how to balance time alone versus time with others. And I see this as a very fluid process. This isn't something you're gonna nail on day one of 2021. It's gonna take some refinement and some adjusting and kind of, adding a little bit more rest. Oh, wow, now I don't get enough work done. Okay, can I up the work? I'm imagining the sliders that they use in like recording studios, like I want to add a little bit more work and a little bit less rest. Okay, but now to compensate that, I need more time alone or whatever. Just kind of like adjusting the dials until you get it right. And so this Two of Pentacles to me is really speaking to habits and routines in your life that you will need to adjust to support this new you as you enforce these boundaries and actually allow yourself to fully rest. And then finally we have the Wheel of Fortune this month, and this is the only card in the entire reading that's reversed, which is always interesting and noteworthy. And for you this month, pile number 2, I see this as something in your life resisting this new change and this new journey you're going on, or some part of you that's resisting this. This could obviously be a family member who doesn't understand why you're suddenly putting up these boundaries, or your boss who expects you to commit your entire life to work and doesn't allow you space to rest and do your own thing. However, this could also be internal thoughts or processes that you need to work through. For example, if you take more time to rest this month and you create more balance in your life by drawing these boundaries, there might be a little part of you, a little bit of like a Capricorn workaholic, little like teeny voice in your brain that's saying like, my value is based on how productive I am, and since I'm being less productive, I view myself as being less valuable. And so I see you needing to make some changes in the ways you view the world and how you place value on yourself this month. But yeah, basically the tarot cards are saying that there will be some changes you're making in your life this month, and you have to also change your mental patterns and thought processes to match those external changes. Next, I have some cards from my Moonology deck. We have the Full Moon Eclipse and New Moon in Virgo. So I want to start with New Moon in Virgo because I think that this is so perfect with everything else I've been saying so far. The new moon is a time to rest and reflect and kind of go inwards, much like the Four of Swords, and then also make plans to start fresh. It's a time of new opportunities. You know, on a blank slate, you can create anything, or a blank canvas, or whatever your preferred idiom, whatever is. And since this card is New Moon in Virgo, Virgo is an earth sign, much like the Pentacles, which represents the element of earth. I really see you creating new habits in a very practical and physical and mundane way, rather than like creating new world philosophies and like changing how you view the world and like ideas about yourself, which to match this physical reality, you will have to make some mental changes as indicated by the Wheel of Fortune. But what this new moon in Virgo is saying is that you need to create new habits that you can follow each day, new routines that will support you in setting these boundaries and allowing yourself more time to rest. And this card says a time to give rather than take. Virgo can often represent service or work that we do for others. However, for you, I think that this is a time to give to yourself. You're not taking from anyone else. You're not taking anyone else's time, money, or resources. Rather, you're giving yourself those gifts. You're giving yourself time to rest and reflect. You're giving yourself the opportunity to embrace a new side of yourself or start on a new path. Sorry, my radiator is clanking in the background. I don't know how horrible that sounds in the recording. But anyway, this new moon in Virgo is really speaking to you giving yourself more time and more space and new habits or routines to become a better version of yourself, really make your rest as healing as possible, and also enforce these boundaries. And then we move to this Full Moon Eclipse card, which says conclusions are within reach. And I love that we have both a new moon and a full moon card, because that's like Wheel of Fortune, like the totality and full range of experiences possible. But with this full moon card, I think that there are certain conclusions that will need to be reached within yourself, whether this is forgiving yourself so that you can move forward and kind of wrap up previous chapters of your life where you didn't respect your own boundaries and you allowed others to not respect your boundaries. And this card to me is really speaking to forgiving yourself, wrapping up past versions of yourself, and allowing those chapters to kind of close up so that you can become this new version of yourself. As you step into new parts of yourself or new experiences, new projects, whatever, there will be endings. Life is full of seasons and full of cycles. And as you step into this new version of yourself, which allows you to have more doors open to you because you are able to express these boundaries better, there are also going to be conclusions and endings. Be kind to yourself, be kind to anyone else who is involved, while maintaining your boundaries and showing that kind of self-respect. Next, I have 2 cards from my Sufi Wisdom deck. We have Face Your Fears and Do Not Be Frustrated. So starting with the Face Your Fears card, I feel like this is really tied to the Wheel of Fortune card because, like I said, this month, as your physical habits change, as your interrelational habits change, as you start to enforce more boundaries, your mental patterns and thoughts and associations will also have to adapt with it. Going back to the example I used earlier, if you valued yourself based on how much work you completed or how many hours a week you worked, and you've cut back on your hours or cut back on the amount of work you're taking on, you might feel less worthy, less valuable, less productive, whatever. And this card is really inviting you to lean into that fully. And instead of shying away from your fears, understanding that they're a part of being human, having fears, especially in the face of change, are normal. I feel like this one's quite obvious, but as you go through this month, since you are making changes and establishing new boundaries for yourself and for others, these are scary things. Change is hard, change is intimidating. Allow yourself to feel your fears and then let them go. You know, you don't have to hold on to these fears forever. Invite them in, have a cup of tea with them, and then when it's time for them to go, gently say goodbye and thank them for being there. Because really our fears are there to keep us safe, but so are boundaries. So this month, as you work to create and establish more boundaries in your life, understand that fears will arise, and both are there to keep you safe, but your boundaries are likely more important at this time. Listen to your fears, but don't let them consume you. And then we have Do Not Be Frustrated. Let go and feel peaceful. So as I said, with the Fool card and the New Moon in Virgo, I really see you starting a lot of chapters this month. Whether this is a new chapter based on the boundaries you're able to set, a new chapter based on the doors that are opening up to you, or just creating new habits and routines for your own well-being, mental and physical. New starts can often bring frustrations because it's new, it's fresh, you don't know what you're doing. That's kind of the whole point. And I think that this card is especially important when we have the King of Swords, because the King of Swords is the penultimate manifestation of the swords. Confidence, assertion, knowing when and where to use the tool of the sword. And the King of Swords is often also very intelligent and very accomplished. And as you're trying new things, as represented by the Fool and the New Moon in Virgo, there are going to be slip-ups, there are going to be mistakes. And with the King of Swords over here, I see that you perhaps were very accomplished or that you had a certain sense of mastery or ability before, where you felt confident in yourself and confident in your abilities. And now that you're trying something new, you're kind of in this place of not being as confident, perhaps a little bit more self-conscious. And as you try these new things, this card just wants to remind you to not get frustrated. Understand that when you try new things, not everything is going to work, and not everything will work on the first try. So as you make the changes of this month, as you try out new things, face your fears as they come up, and then don't get frustrated if there are slip-ups or hang-ups or mistakes. Those are normal and those are okay. And then finally, our last 2 cards, we have Castle. It's time for healing, not war. And Storm. Every hurricane comes to an end. Oh my gosh, these could not be more perfect. So the Castle card, which says, it's time for healing, not war. As I talked about at the very beginning of this reading, the sword is a weapon. It can be used for good or it can be used for bad. If we think about something like a knife, which is perhaps more easy for us to wrap our minds around today than a sword, you have a knife that can either be used to prepare delicious food for yourself, it can be used for surgery to heal people, and it can also be used to harm people or to harm yourself. And so this month, pile number 2, you are being encouraged to use the swords, the tools you have available to you, for healing, not for war. This isn't a time to fight with other people, this isn't a time to fight with yourself. Even though your mind might try and fight these physical changes that you're making in your life, understand that they are healing and don't fight against yourself. As you go through this month and make some changes, you may find yourself struggling with them. You may find certain parts of yourself fighting with each other. You know, your past self versus your present self, your mind versus your body, etc. And so this month, there may be conflict. There will likely be some sort of conflict. Again, whether it's between you and other people or you versus yourself. I really encourage you to focus on the healing and not the fighting. So this could be embracing compromise or knowing when to retreat. Basically what I'm getting at with this card is this month it's a time for healing. You don't need to fight anymore. It's okay to simply be. And then I love this card of storm. Every hurricane comes to an end. So as you go through this month, there will be turmoil. Again, with the do not get frustrated card, there will be frustrations that arise. With the Wheel of Fortune and the Fool, there's changes and new beginnings. And not every new beginning is positive and light and like, you know, the sun coming through the clouds marking the new beginning. Sometimes beginnings happen with storms. I feel like a lot of fairy tales or fantasy books start with a storm. It was a dark and stormy night. And so that might be your start to the month and your start to this year and this new chapter of your life, pile number 2. This month, even though it's a time of healing and recuperation and rest and really taking care of yourself, it may not get off on the smoothest foot. And so what this card is really encouraging for you is to practice radical acceptance. Understand that just because it's not necessarily the most pleasant in this moment, hurricanes and storms are usually not the most pleasant experiences. Understand that it's a phase and it will pass. This is really a time for healing, and even though you will feel better once you've healed, it may be a little bit stormy along the path. So that's what I see for you, pile number 2. I see you setting some good boundaries, having new doors open up to you, and also learning and growing along the way, understanding that change and growth and healing are not always easy or glamorous, but they are important, and so that's what I see for your month ahead. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please leave a thumbs up, comment down below, let me know what you thought, subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye! Alright, pile number 3, if you selected the cards with the pyrite on top, this reading is for you. Alright, pile number 3, so first off we have the Hermit, then we have the Two of Wands, Knight of Pentacles reversed, Hermit's also reversed in case you didn't notice, Queen of Swords, and King of Cups. So this spread is quite interesting because we start out with the Hermit reversed, which when I see that card reversed, my mind immediately thinks you need to spend some time alone, you need to go within a little bit, check in with your inner landscape, see what's going on there, and take a little bit of time away from the noise of others. We are constantly bombarded with information, whether that's on social media or classic news sources or, you know, going on YouTube, watching videos, listening to podcasts, reading. Whatever we're doing, it always feels like we're being overwhelmed with the ideas of others and information from other people. And so with the Hermit reversed, I feel like you really need to take some time this month and check in with yourself, kind of check in, you know, ask yourself, how do I feel in this moment? What would feel best and most appropriate for me to do? Not what should I be doing in the new year, what is expected of me from families, friends, work, society, but what do I need to be the best version of myself in this moment? And I also just want to mention that these cards, like your spread with just the tarot cards so far, is overwhelmed with greens and blues. And so this month I really see healing and emotional connection, tapping into your intuition, and practicing empathy, both for yourself and others, being key themes. I see a lot happening on a very like healing, soulful level rather than more action in the world. However, we have the Two of Wands, which is very much about making plans, deepening commitments, and really like getting out in the world and starting to take action. But at the beginning of the month for you, pile number 3, I really see you spending some time alone, getting in touch with yourself, your thoughts, your wants, your desires, etc. And from that, I feel like you're going to have some new ideas come to you. And these ideas could be how you want to reinvent yourself for the new year or improve upon yourself in the new year, or perhaps a new job direction or a new creative passion or a new hobby you want to try. But in any case, I see you kind of taking this time to rest and retreat, and then you emerge from it with new ideas, a new plan, and you're ready to go. You have the tools you need, you've had like the time to plan and think, and now you're ready to go. And then the Knight of Pentacles usually speaks to kind of doing boring, mundane tasks. of like things that no one really wants to do but everyone has to do, like cleaning the bathroom or taking out the trash or vacuuming. And with this card reversed, I see some resistance to that. I feel like after this time alone, you just want to like get going and have fun and do the fun things. This card almost looks like a carnival ride or an amusement park ride, like a roller coaster of some sort. And so I see you kind of wanting to have the fun and reap the benefits of whatever this is, whether it's a new hobby you're trying or a new job or a new relationship or a new personal style. I see you really wanting to start it and then reap the benefits immediately, and you struggle to actually put in the work. I think that one of your lessons this month, pile number 4, is understanding that in order to reap the benefits and have this fun, you will have to put in some work. For example, if you want to create a new style for yourself, that's just not going to happen overnight. You might need to work your budget sheet around a little bit so that you actually have money to spend on new clothes. You might need to put the time and effort into doing some good thrifting or find places to buy secondhand clothes instead of buying new and reusable clothes, and maybe it takes a while to dig for the items that you really want. If you want to start a new creative hobby, it's going to take a while to get good at it, and you actually have to put in the hours to practice before you'll be able to play guitar or paint well enough to show off to others. So that's what I see for the first half of this month, of spending time alone, getting a creative spark, and then feeling a little disappointed when you actually have to put in work to make it happen. But then we have the Queen of Swords, and she is powerful in the sense of being analytical and decisive. She can make choices, she has the information presented to her, and then can act effectively from there. And so with this month, this imbalance of wanting to have fun and not wanting to work, all play and no work, that kind of mentality, the Queen of Swords kind of comes in to make choices to create balance around that. So perhaps that means a little bit less fun and a little bit more work, or changing the type of fun so that you don't have to do as much work. But then I see the Queen of Swords kind of stepping in to say, okay, we actually do have to like make money if we want to like do all of these fun things. So let's prioritize this many hours of work a day so that we can have fun for this many hours of fun time each day. And then finally we come to the King of Cups, who is one of the embodiments of the epitome of emotional intelligence, charisma, being in touch with your emotions, and using them in a very productive way, which I don't love the idea of that now that I've said it, because I think sometimes there's this idea that like if your emotions aren't good, you have to change them so that they are good. And, we want to move past the bad emotions quickly so that we can become more productive by being in a good emotional state. That little tangent aside, simply to say that the King of Cups represents you at the end of the month being very confident in your emotions and understanding that there are waves and being able to ride the waves of your emotions, which is quite the contrast from the beginning of January, where the Hermit is saying, I need time alone because I'm so burned out that I just need to rest and retreat and not talk to anyone and just feel my emotions. And then this month you kind of introduce some more fun, but you don't want to do the work. And then the Queen of Swords is trying to make some choices, but it's from a very analytical, logical perspective. But then we come to the end of the month, and I actually really see these two cards working together well, kind of your emotional brain versus your logical brain, to come together and make choices for you. That's a pretty popular concept in DBT, that you have your emotional mind, which acts based on emotions and impulses and feelings, and then you have your logical mind, which looks at things in a very like cause and effect, very analytical way of, if I do this, then this, or I need to do this so that I can do this, or this makes sense because logic. But I see you at the end of the month kind of coming into a rational brain, which uses both emotions and logic to make the best choice possible. So throughout this month, I see imbalances in some sense, as you kind of like need to retreat for a bit, and then you have this really strong desire to do things that are fun or creatively fulfilling, but then not wanting to do the work. And I see just kind of some ups and downs. But then by the end of the month, I see these two cards working together as your rational brain so that you can be creative, you can have fun, but you're also able to get work done, understand cause and effect, and there's enough balance in your life that you don't need to go into like the reversed hermit phase, if that makes any sense. So that's what I'm seeing in the tarot cards. Next, I have a couple for my Moonology cards. So we have the new moon, which says a star is coming. And then we have the south node, which says don't let your past hold you back. So starting with the new moon always represents new beginnings, opportunities, fresh slate, blank canvas, if you will. And so with the new moon, there's a new beginning coming for you this month. I think this also speaks to the fact that at the beginning of the month, you have the Hermit reversed. Because the new moon always comes after the dark moon phase. After the moon is dark, we get that little sliver of light that comes through. So at the beginning of the month, I see you in a bit of a dark moon phase, at a bit of a low point of kind of, I just need to fully rest for a few days and turn my brain off. And then we get into the new moon phase, which is most of the rest of your month, of trying new things, being full of potential, new opportunities, etc. So I see you kind of beginning this journey this month of starting fresh, going back to the drawing board, coming up with the ideas that you get with the Two of Wands here, and then growing and developing from there, because we go from the new moon to the full moon. So this period of growth this month really starts with you having the new opportunities and the fresh beginner's mind that comes with the new moon. And then we have the south node, which says don't let the past hold you back. And I think that that mainly refers to these two cards here, the Queen of Swords and the King of Cups, which represent this kind of balance of masculine and feminine, logical versus emotional, just balance in every sense. And I see this as the evolution that you make over the course of the month, the learning, the growth that you do. And so as you make this growth, there's going to be the past, aka the ego, who wants to keep you where you have been previously because it's comfortable. It doesn't require change and practicing new ways of being. And so the south node is saying, don't let your past hold you back. Don't be tied to who you've been previously. You are not destined to be the person that you were previously for the rest of your life. You're allowed to grow and change and develop and tap into this rational mind. Use your emotions for good and use your logic. Neither is good or bad. They are both helpful when used properly. And again, we have this flip-flopping at the beginning of the month of like reversed, upright, reversed. And I think that that is indicative of your life previously, of kind of jumping from one extreme to the next, of a lot of activity to periods of like crashing and burning and wanting to have fun, but then not having the resources to actually have that fun. So as you get to this more balanced state over the course of the month, this card of the South Node really is here to remind you that you're not tied to that and you're allowed to grow and change. Also, the South Node, at least in more traditional forms of astrology, the South Node really speaks to what we want to decrease, what needs to be decreased, because the past is the known, it's comfortable, and what we might want to continue just because it's familiar. And so this card of don't let your past hold you back, allow yourself to decrease who you've been in the past. And I use this imagery in my last reading as well, but if you imagine like a soundboard with the dials that you can like shift and adjust and change, as you're growing and developing into this person who balances logic and emotion, masculine, feminine, etc., as you're kind of increasing the volume on that, you'll also want to decrease the volume on who you've been in the past. This instability, this desire to have activity without work, and then periods of enjoyment, and then periods of crashing and burning. Allow yourself to decrease from the past, allow yourself to start fresh, and allow yourself to step into this new and, productive mindset. Next, I have some cards for my Sufi Wisdom deck. We have Happy Life and Work of Art. I've never seen this card before. It's so beautiful. So this Happy Life card I think is so important, also because everything else is so cool toned, and this one is very warm toned. And I think that this card is really speaking to you tapping into your intuition and making decisions that are more balanced with the King of Cups and the Queen of Swords, of simultaneously not being too structured, but also listening to all the facts before you make a decision. If that makes sense, this card says live a less guarded life. Instead of worrying about how your life should look, what you should do for fun, instead of, doing what your friends are doing or what society says that someone your age should be doing, just allow yourself to listen to your emotions, listen to your logic, and follow what brings you joy from there. I feel like the message of this reading has been really boiled down to balancing logic and emotions and using that to guide your decisions. Because when you live that more balanced life, you don't have to fluctuate between extremes all the time, and it's a lot easier to self-regulate when you're not, going to the peak high and then the peak low and, trying to work between those. Your range of extremity kind of shrinks a bit. And I think in kind of that more middle ground, even though it might not be quite as exciting or dynamic, I think that's your happy medium and where the happy life comes in. And then we move to the work of art card, which I think is really nice because we do have the Two of Wands, which can be about creative expression, learning a new hobby, learning how to play an instrument, how to paint, draw, dance, sing, etc., which can lead to a happy life. But I think that this work of art is more so speaking to the beauty that you will create in your life when you are able to find this balance and when you are able to find a happy life. And another message from this card that just came to me is that this month I think that you might be finding more joy in the mundane, in the very simple things, in the very day-to-day, things as small as like seeing a really beautiful sunset or a nice flower on your daily walk or the smell of your morning coffee. Like I've said, this month kind of reduces the amount of fluctuations you have and really brings you to this moderate middle ground point where you do find joy. And I think also through this happy life, you will begin to see that everything around you is a work of art. You might even be able to recognize yourself as a work of art, your body, your mind, your thoughts, your creativity, etc. And it may also be your external world that you recognize as a work of art. And with the Two of Wands, again, you might be creating this art, or you might simply be recognizing it in the world around you. Finally, for our last two cards, we have stars. You can manifest every wish, and wings. You never needed those wings to fly. So starting out with the stars card, it says you can manifest your every wish. And I think that this is so lovely because, like I've said a million times, coming into January, you have this mindset of all or nothing, like things have to be very dramatic to be interesting or worthwhile. And the stars card is showing that you can have everything you want without needing to be so dramatic. You can experience highs and lows, but it doesn't need to be the absolute highest moment of your life or the absolute lowest moment of your life. And you will find everything you want when you are able to create more balance in your life. I think that that's the main message of that card. And then we move to the wings card, which I think is so cute. It says, you never needed those wings to fly. And I think, this is the last time I'll say it, don't worry, but I think with this fluctuation that you're experiencing at the beginning of the month, you might not even believe that it could be possible for you to live a more balanced life, to have more regulation, more, internal awareness so that you can kind of ride the waves without becoming attached to either extreme. And so this card is really just believing in yourself and believing in whatever you want, not getting caught up in the self-criticism, not, becoming too attached to any outcome, just really focusing on what brings you joy in your life, what makes you happy, where can you find beauty around you, where can you find art in your life, and just allow yourself to go from there. I think that this month for you, pile number 3, is a month of kind of rebalancing your internal thought processes and the way that you view the world and the way that you navigate the world, learning to live with a more balanced approach, with more equanimity. And then towards the end of the month, you'll be able to see how high you can fly, all the way up to the stars maybe, once you learn to have that balance and that almost like stoic, unshakable quality within yourself of being able to experience the highs and lows of life without becoming attached to them. I hope that made sense. I hope that message resonated with at least some of you out there. If you did enjoy this reading, please leave a like, comment down below, let me know what you thought. Subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye! Hello, pile number 4. If you picked the cards with the jade on top, this reading is for you. All right, pile number 4. So we have quite an interesting month ahead. We start out with the Two of Swords, then we have the High Priestess, then the Eight of Cups, the Magician, and the Ten of Pentacles. So starting out with the Two of Swords, This card speaks to a need to make a choice. This could be anywhere from as minor as like, what outfit do I wear today? But obviously, since this is showing up in your reading for the month ahead, I see it being something more like, do I tell this person the truth or should I lie to them? Should I stay in this relationship or should I leave it? Which job should I choose? Which major should I choose? Should I let my life take this path or should I let my life take this other path? And there is definitely a lack of clarity when it comes to this card. The original Rider-Waite depiction of this card features someone wearing a blindfold. So whatever it is in your life that you need to make a choice about, there will be consequences with whichever choice you make. And obviously, I'm not talking about consequences in a negative sense, more so the fact that consequences are just a part of life and every action has a reaction. So whatever you choose, there will be results or consequences or reactions to it. And you might not know the outcome at this time, and you might need to make that choice blind, which is why it's so perfect that this card is right next to the High Priestess. The High Priestess is the number 2. Two of Swords is obviously also a 2. So these two are intrinsically connected. And so this month, as you are trying to make this decision, also I see this decision as something that comes at the beginning of the month and that kind of guides the rest of your January and honestly the rest of your 2020 and maybe into the future beyond that. But this choice that you have to make, the High Priestess really wants you to rely on your intuition. And as cliche as that sounds, I feel like if you watch any spiritual person talk, you will hear them say like, just rely on your intuition, listen to what your intuition says. For example, if you're thinking, should I go with career A or career B? These two cards are advising you against looking at like, how much does each job make? Where would I be able to find this type of job? What are the benefits? Like this is a time to think about it very practically and like, how much money will I make from each of them, or what would happen if I did this, or what would happen if I did this. This is more just like kind of a gut feeling of what intuitively feels right. Because again, with the Two of Swords, you might not necessarily know what the outcome will be. Despite that, you still need to make a choice. So this month, as you need to make this choice, and maybe it's a set of choices, perhaps it's like making one choice, and then once you've decided on that, you'll need to decide something else. But anyway, as you make this choice or these choices this month, really tap into your intuition. And as I'm speaking, I'm recognizing how much purple is in this reading. It seems to be a very dominant color. And purple definitely speaks to our intuition. There's also a lot of dark blue, which is like the third eye. So really like tapping into your intuition, the unseen, perhaps what is not necessarily the most obvious choice or the quote-unquote like best choice or the safest choice, but really just tapping into your intuition and allowing that part of yourself to choose, because there's a lot of inner wisdom that we hold. And so this month you're going to be learning to use that intuition to make your choices, which is good because we end up with the Ten of Pentacles, and this card speaks to success in the realms of family and money and career and home. So whatever choice this is, if you rely on your intuition, you will get to this point of success, abundance, wealth, and not necessarily just wealth in the sense of financial security, but also emotional wealth, life satisfaction, etc. And then in the middle here we have the Eight of Cups, and this card speaks to leaving something behind. The 8 is almost at the 10. It's pretty close to that like completion. In order to reach this 10, you need to let something go. You can't carry everything that you've ever owned in your entire life with you through to the finish line. You can't take everyone you've ever known to the finish line with you. And again, deciding what to leave behind, what you can't carry with you as you progress along this journey to the Ten of Pentacles, deciding who can come with you or who can't come with you. That's your intuition. You need to be asking your intuition that. And this Eight of Cups, obviously, like letting things go and leaving things behind can be sad or awkward or painful or uncomfortable. So in the middle of the month, I see you kind of questioning like, is it worth it to get to this dream if I have to give up my romantic partner, or if I have to give up a different dream, or if I have to like give up a job and be financially insecure for a little while? Is it worth it to get to this point if I have to deal with this loss at this point? The answer is yes, But of course, there will be some reckoning for you this month with that on a personal level. Basically, you kind of questioning, tapping into your intuition, like, is it worth it to have my dream job if I have to move to a different city? Or if I can't live in the same city as my kids or whatever. Just an example. But yeah, so I'll get to the Magician in a second, but basically I see you needing to make a choice of some sort at the beginning of this month and experiencing a little dip in the beginning of the month and kind of questioning, like, is it worth it if I have to lose these things in the process? What do I need to leave behind so I can like grow that extra little step? And then coming to the 10 of Pentacles and reaching that sense of conclusion, all while using your intuition. And also with the Magician here, also I apologize, my radiator is clinking around in the background. I hope it's not too distracting. But while we're using the High Priestess and tapping into our intuition, kind of our more lunar side, the unseen, etc., we're also using the Magician. And the Magician, I really love the depiction in this deck. You can see that the Magician is alchemizing. They are using the tools available to them and working with that. When you make this decision at the beginning of the month, you may limit or change the resources available to you. For example, if you decide to go to grad school or just college in general, you will have less money available to you. And so the Magician might be you figuring out, how can I live on a more limited budget? What meals can I make with less money available to me each month? How can I get more creative? And the Magician is truly a creative card with working with the tools at your disposal to create this life. So as you go through this period of loss in the middle of the month, letting go of old dreams, letting go of old people or old patterns or emotional processes or whatever, the Magician kind of comes in and says, all right, so here's what we have left after we let that go. And of course, allow yourself to feel this loss. And then after you've felt the loss, the Magician comes in and is like, okay, cool. So now that we've cleared that away, we have this, this, and this. How can we use these things to craft your dream? And I think that that little fix and kind of like getting to work type of vibe will lead you towards this success at the end of the month. So the tarot cards show a pretty classic journey of making a choice, continuing on a path, having a little setback, but ultimately getting to where you want to go. Sorry, I talked really fast there. Next, I have some cards from my Moonology deck. We have the new moon in Libra, and then we have the first quarter moon. So I love that your commitment is being tested in relation to the Eight of Cups, because as I was saying, the Eight of Cups often signifies us needing to let go of something, needing to let go of the past, needing to let go of a dream, a person, an emotional pattern, etc. In order to continue forward, you have to let go of something. And this first quarter moon here is really speaking to that. Are you willing to sacrifice some time, some money, some energy, the location that you live in, the location that you will have to live in, whatever, if it means that you can get to this point? Is that sacrifice worth it? And so that is your commitment being tested. Can you go through this loss and still make it work? Is the loss worth it? And ultimately understanding that you will reach your goal, maybe by the end of the month, maybe you'll start to see the benefits of your goal at the beginning of the month, but you will be tested along the way. And then we have the new moon in Libra card, which is so funny because I'm pretty sure that every single reading this time has had a new moon card, which is probably, because we're starting a new year. January is the first month of the year, but also we just had the winter solstice, which is like the new moon of the year. So we're kind of in this potent period of opportunity. What are we going to create? What is going to grow? What is going to come from this? And so I see you kind of starting this month in this period of like the Two of Swords, like I have to make a choice, but either way I go, there's new opportunity and new things will begin in my life. Whether I choose to pursue life dream A or life dream B, I'm still pursuing a life dream and I'm following that opportunity and going this route. And there's an excitement in that. And also, since it's the new moon in Libra, Libra is ruled by Venus, it says a new romantic cycle begins. Perhaps it's a new relationship that you're starting. I feel like I've been talking about very like material physical dreams, such as moving to the city you want to move to, finding your dream career, going to grad school, starting college, making some choice that is a little bit more trackable and whatever, like very obvious in the external way. But the swords are about relationships as well. And so this might be a new relationship you're starting, and if it is, You have to make a choice at the beginning of the month. Do I start a new relationship or do I stay single? Do I start a relationship with this person or this person? Do I end my current relationship or do I continue to put effort and work into it? Use your intuition, use the tools available to you. And this Eight of Cups, if you're going down the romantic path and that resonates with you more for this month ahead, you might be asking yourself, is it okay to lose my sense of individuality and my independence if I enter this relationship? Is that something that I'm okay with? My commitment is being tested to this relationship. Is that all right with me? And then, of course, if you listen to your intuition, use the tools available to you, and you're starting a new relationship, it will work out at the end of the month. Ten of Pentacles is a very positive card that you would want to see in a romance reading. Up next, I have 2 cards from my Sufi Wisdom deck. We have Open Mind, replace the old cycle with a new and exciting one, which is so perfect. And then Life's Purpose. Okay, so yeah, I think that obviously there is a possibility that this is a romantic partner or, you know, something related to your job. But I really see this as you figuring out what you want out of life. What is your dream? And I know that's like really daunting for a monthly reading of like, this month you're going to figure out what you want to do for your entire life. But this Life's Purpose card says, seek your own deeper vision for life. Do what you want to do. Tap into your intuition and really listen to what it has to say. You might have thought your entire life, like, I am destined to be a doctor, or my parents have always wanted me to be a lawyer. But then this High Priestess card is saying, actually, you would be really good at this career, or I really want a career where I can be my own boss. And obviously, your life's purpose is not always tied in your career. This could be your relationships. Like, that could be your life's purpose, is to be a wonderful parent or spouse or friend or whatever. But whatever it is this month, I really feel you making choices, making some sacrifices that lead you towards this sense of completion and satisfaction with who you are and where you're going. Also, can we talk about how this is just more blue and purple? Like, you are definitely getting like psychic messages this month. The questions that you're raising this month about what do I want to do with my life? Who do I want to be with romantically? What job do I want to have? Where do I want to live, etc.? These are not choices that can be answered by logic. These are choices that you need to ask your emotions and your intuition, which ties in perfectly to the Open Mind card. It says, replace the old cycle with a new and exciting one. You're starting new things this month, and you're making a new choice with the Two of Swords that leads you down a certain path. And so this Open Mind card is saying, just keep an open mind through it all. Understand that it may not look exactly as you had previously planned, but if it intuitively feels right, it's where you're meant to be. So just stay open to that. And then finally, our last 2 cards, we have Red, Forgive, and Lioness, You've Earned All Your Stripes. This one is so cute. This deck is really like body inclusive, which I love. I don't know if you can really see her stretch marks on this, but both of these cards to me are showing women living their truth and practicing self-care. So this red card really speaks to forgiveness, and this card is the number 10, which numerologically reduces down to the number 1, which is the self, autonomy, independence, individuality, and all of that. So I really see this for you, pile number 4, as forgiveness of the self. Forgiving yourself for not living up to your dreams up until this point. Forgive yourself for not knowing what you wanted to do with your life until now. Forgive yourself for mistakes that you've made, for who you've been in the past. Forgiveness is something, when we forgive other people, it's not necessarily for them. The forgiveness more often is for us so that we can move on. And I see that for you this month, of forgiving yourself and forgiving past mistakes so that you can grow and step into your life's purpose with an open mind. And then the Lioness card, which says you've earned all your stripes. I really just see this as being proud of yourself and proud of how far you've come. We earn our stripes or scars or any other physical or emotional markers comparable to stretch marks throughout our life. Whether you attach positive or negative judgments onto them of these are beautiful or these are ugly, they're still signs of how far you've come. And this month, I see you doing this like extreme growth. Like we move through like almost the whole minor arcana of the 2 to the 10, which is growth and acceleration. And along this way, you will learn things, you will change, you will develop, you will grow. Stretch marks often come from growth. And so as you grow this month, you may get a few battle scars internally or externally, and I encourage you to celebrate them and use them as a reminder of where you've come from and where you're going, and understand that you will not go through this journey completely unblemished. And those markers, the stretch marks, the internal markers, whatever, are a sign of how far you've come, and that is worth being proud of. All right, pile number 4, I think that's all I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. You have such a lovely month ahead. I am so excited for you. If you did like this reading, please leave me a thumbs up, comment down below, let me know what you thought. I will see you in another reading very soon. Bye!